Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. But if you're new here, my name's Tyler and I just do consistent content on all things related hockey in the NHL overall. And before I go further, I know you're probably saying, Tyler, there's no way the Toronto Maple Leafs, the same team that has been in cap hell over these past couple years, is going to go out and get the likes of Alexander Pietrangelo, the most coveted defenseman on the free agent market, and arguably the most coveted free agent outside of Taylor Hall, obviously. And there's been plenty of rumors to suggest that he will very well stay with the St. Louis Blues. There's been plenty of rumors to suggest that he will not stay with the St. Louis Blues and hit the free agent market. So this is a video that I really took some time to debate on whether I was going to do or not. But what has happened over the past 24 to 48 hours with really reliable sources with the likes of Pierre Lebrun from TSN especially has led me to making this and something that I thought was such a far-fetched possibility into something that could very well be a reality. The Toronto Maple Leafs, can they make this happen? I'm going to do my best to try to figure that out. Now, Alexander Pietrangelo, the 6'3", 210-pound right-handed defenseman, one of the best two-way defensemen, best overall defenseman in the league for quite some time now. Of course, you'll see him in Lady Byng nominations and, of course, the Norris nominations more often than not every single season. And while he may have not won any of them, the fact that he has been in the running is telling of just how good of a defenseman he is and how consistent he's been throughout his career. Of course, being the captain for the St. Louis Blues, being a cup winner with the St. Louis Blues, helping lead them to a Stanley Cup victory against the Boston Bruins just a year ago. The 30-year-old defenseman is, of course, now a UFA from his current cap at around, I believe, 6.5 mil, and he's going to be seeking anywhere between 9 to 11 mil for around 7 years, especially if he were to, say, hit the free agent market. But Pietrangelo this past season in 70 games played had 16 goals, 36 assists for 52 points, and in his entire career since being an NHL mainstay back in the 2010-2011 season, he has had only 2 seasons in which he hasn't racked up at least 40 points. So very impressive, especially for a guy who is really known for his two-way game. If you look at this season alone, he had fantastic numbers and had a giveaway takeaway ratio of only -2, which is fantastic. That's one of the best stats in all of defensemen in the NHL this past season when it comes to that differential. Of course, 43 takeaways, 45 giveaways, but his career numbers is what is even more telling of how fantastic he is with this kind of stat too. He had 438 takeaways and 378 giveaways in his NHL career. That is remarkable. That is some of the best numbers for a defenseman in the league when it comes to that stat in particular, which is very important in my opinion. But when it gets to Pietrangelo, of course, why do I feel that there's a possible chance that he will hit the free agent market? Well, what has happened over the past 24 hours has been telling. If you don't know, on Twitter, there is an account called NHL Rumors Daily. Make sure to check them out. They have just close to 30,000 followers, I should say, and they have been unbelievably accurate with so many different rumors regarding the NHL, not just with trades, but with certain head coaches, different signings, among other things over the past year. They've gotten more things right than I can even begin to tell you, so make sure to check them out. They have very reliable sources, and between them and Pierre Lebrun, it was only telling. They came out earlier this just a day ago, of course, coming out and saying how, of course, they have reached a stalemate in the negotiations between the likes of Pietrangelo and the St. Louis Blues, because the Blues only have 5.1 mil that they are currently working with, so they are really struggling to find enough cap space to keep Pietrangelo. And while he does want to stay in St. Louis, of course, his family has grown up there with him. Of course, he has risen a family there, and St. Louis is all he has known as a professional athlete. So I understand the urgency to want to make things work and stay there and not go anywhere else. It makes perfect sense, and he's on a great team nonetheless. But when it comes to this cap situation, he's not going to take a cap hit of only around 5 mil. That just isn't going to happen. And the Blues don't have any other cap to offer or really give away. No one is really going to take on those contracts, in my opinion. They have 3 contracts that really stand out that could separate them from really losing Pietrangelo, and that is the likes of Tyler Bozak, Alexander Steen, and of course Jaden Schwartz. They all have a cap hit at least 5 mil or more, with the highest cap hit in that being Alexander Steen. They're all UFAs after next season, of course, but regardless, they're not going to be able to move those contracts more than likely. And even if they say do lose a guy via trade or just an RFA offer sheet, or if they just don't sign him and Vince Dunn, because he is due, of course, for a new contract being an RFA out of his ELC, they're not going to keep him. But even then, they're still not going to be able to afford Pietrangelo. So how does Toronto get into this equation? Here we go. Pierre Lebrun for TSN was, of course, just yesterday on TSN's 1050 podcast and explained how Pietrangelo is definitely targeting the Leafs if he were to hit the free agent market. All speculation is that if he were to hit the market, he would have a very short list of teams he would consider, with the likes of the Vegas Golden Knights and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Vegas, of course, would love some help on that right side defense, but they simply don't have the cap room for it, very similar to Toronto. But the difference is Vegas, of course, is going to re-sign Robin Lehner. It's all but guaranteed right now at a $5 million, $25 million extension, so they have to deal with Fleury as well, and I don't see Pietrangelo going to Vegas as of right now personally. I know that they would definitely love to acquire a guy like him, but to be able to work the cap, I just don't think that they could do it. But when it gets to Toronto, a lot of factors come into play. We could start off with the fact of where Alexander Pietrangelo is originally from. He's from King City, Ontario, which is just less than an hour away from Toronto. So other family members, I would assume at least, are from that area. So it would be a very plausible destination. Of course, he's from Canada, has played for Canada, of course, in championship tournaments, among other things, and has done great there. So he would have that familiarity, being not far from his home at all, his original home, I should say, not his new home as of late in St. Louis. But when it comes to the Maple Leafs, they currently only have $6.1 million in cap space. So you're thinking, okay, they need to free up and get to at least 9.5, I think would be realistic, or 10. So how are they going to get there? Well, they're definitely going to have to trade away the likes of Andreas Janssen. There is no doubting the fact that he will be dealt this offseason, feels like at this point. He has 3 years left on his deal, and he has a cap at $3.41 million. So you can expect him to be dealt. Kyle Dubas is expected to make plenty of moves this offseason, really not addressing this right side defense well throughout the entirety of his GM career thus far. He did acquire Tyson Barrie a year ago. I thought that was an absolute terrible trade, and I'm sorry, Leafs fans, if you disagree, but I thought that was an idiotic move from the beginning. Getting an offensive defenseman when your main issue with your roster is your defense, having defensively reliable people, and Barrie is one of them. He's a solid two-way defenseman, but there's no doubting the fact that if you bring in a guy like Pietrangelo, it is a night and day difference with how their defensive play is. So I didn't think that was a good deal, and Barrie is not going to be with the Leafs going forward. That seems evident at this point, right? He's going to hit the free agent market. But you have Janssen, of course, and you have a bunch of RFAs, and it's a matter of will they qualify them or not? They probably won't. So the likes of Ilya Mikheyev, who I really like, it'll suck to see Soup go, but I don't think they would be able to afford him. Dennis Mulligan, of course, Gauthier, Rodriguez, and Travis Dermott. Travis Dermott, they could probably be able to keep on just over $1 million if I had to assume, but a lot of these RFAs they would see go, because this year, obviously, if you don't match for an RFA in a certain amount of time in October, then they will become unrestricted free agents. So I think if the Leafs are going to go down the route for Pietrangelo, they're going to have to give up some guys that they necessarily don't want to give up. But they can go down that route, and they could, of course, get rid of Freddie Anderson as well. There's been plenty of trade rumor speculation regarding him. Obviously, he has a cap hit, of course, of $5 million for one more year, and it seems like they will definitely go in a different direction with their goaltending. So expect Anderson to probably be out too. That seems evident from all the rumors that we have seen of him and others on the trade block for the Maple Leafs. But then you have other guys like Kyle Clifford, who's going to be off the books. Of course, he has a cap hit of $1.6 million as a UFA. I'm trying to think if he's a UFA now. I think he is, yeah. So he would be off. And then Jason Spezza, if they can have him back on another $700K cap hit, then I say do it, because he's really looks solid for them in that fourth line role. Really can't complain. But do they want to go down that route, or are they willing to say give up a bigger chip to really make this a reality? Because when you look at this Toronto Maple Leafs team, they're tied up with so many big contracts. So bringing in a guy like Pietrangelo would just really make it worse, especially in the latter part of that contract. There's no doubt Pietrangelo is in the prime of his career, but to expect him to play at the top of his level, to the top of his worth in this contract throughout the next 7 years is just silly. That usually doesn't happen when it comes to defensemen, especially hitting free agency at the age of around 30. So would they be willing to trade away the likes of William Nylander? I think that's the biggest question. I know Leafs fans love him, so don't crucify me here. This is simply hypothetical if you want to get a guy like Pietrangelo. So my question to you Leafs fans is, what is more important to you? Would you prefer to have Willie, or would you prefer to have Pietrangelo? I know a lot of you will say Willie, and some may say Pietrangelo. Personally, if I'm the Leafs, I do everything that I possibly can to get a guy like Alexander Pietrangelo. And why is that? It's not just because of the offensive production. It's how sound he is defensively. He has been easily a top 5 defenseman in the NHL for the past 5 years. Like, no doubting that. He has been simply phenomenal, really overshadowed, I think, because in part of him playing in St. Louis. I don't know why he doesn't get as much recognition as he deserves, because he is truly remarkable. He steps up in playoffs as well. If you look at his playoff numbers, where are they at? I have them right over here. He has 25 points in his last 35 playoff games. Are you kidding me? As a defenseman, that's simply phenomenal. That's including the Stanley Cup playoff run, of course, winning the cup last year, and their short playoff stint this year. So regardless, Pietrangelo has proven just how crucial and why he is worth such a big cap hit and for long term. And if there's any team that could really make this possibly happen, it is the Leafs. Kyle Dubas would have to work some magic, would have to make a lot of deals happen, but if they are, say, trying to get rid of a guy like William Nylander, I know that there will be plenty of teams in the NHL fully willing to give quite the haul for him, which would really do dividends for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the end. So is that a route that they would want to go down? I'm not sure. They could really try to go with more of the cap crunch and getting rid of Freddie Anderson, obviously, getting rid of a lot of these RFAs, but that may hurt them more in the end when it comes to having depth on the offense in that bottom 6. So that is my biggest worry with that. But regardless, these rumors have gone significantly better over the past 24 to 48 hours. And yes, I know Toronto is always thrown in with every big name free agent or trade possibility known to man, because that's just how it works with the Toronto market and the media. I understand that, but at the same time, this seems like an increased possibility, a reality, if you will. Pietrangelo in Toronto would look disgusting. And of course, Mikko Lehtonen will, of course, be in the lineup from the KHL, sign with them, will be in the lineup for them next season as well. So that's another guy to look forward to on defense, who, while he isn't fantastic defensively, he's known for his offense. He's a very solid two-way defenseman. I'm very interested to see what he will do at the NHL level. But Pietrangelo on your top line, along the likes of whether it be, of course, Riley or Muzzin, would just be fantastic. I think that brings so much balance to this team, regardless of their goaltending situation, which I will be addressing in another video, which that video either already came out or it's going to be coming out really soon. I already did one video regarding the goaltending situation for Toronto, but I'm doing another one. I'm really looking forward to it. So if it came out already, then you probably saw it. If not, it'll definitely be out shortly after this one. But I think that's going to conclude this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Would you love to see Alexander Pietrangelo, the captain for the St. Louis Blues, Lenny in Toronto? Do you think it really isn't going to happen? Because like I said, this is very difficult situation. They have to free up so much cap space. I'm well aware of that, but I do not want to discount the fact that it isn't a possibility, because it is, and it's becoming more of an increased possibility. When you put all the numbers together, when you look at all the things that Kyle Dubas would have to do, it is there. And they need to make big changes. They know that. Dubas has stated how really you can expect big changes. All speculation from the likes of TSN and SN, especially the main media dogs. I know that they don't get everything right, but they have reasoning for this, and I understand it as an outsider. Truly, I've been deep diving this the best that I can. And if you have more information that I don't know, please let me know in the comments below. I would truly love to hear it. I think this is a great topic of discussion regarding Pietrangelo. Look, he may very well end up staying in St. Louis, saying that. Think that's perfectly fine and great for him. But if he does hit that free agent market, count on me when I say that the Toronto Maple Leafs actually have a realistic possibility here. It is mind-blowing to me. I can't believe I almost talked myself into this, but it is a reality, especially given these reports. I trust these people, especially the NHL Rumors Daily on Twitter. Great guy. Really has been accurate with his information. We'll see if something significant comes out of this, and if not, then oh well. Then hey, it was worth the topic of discussion at the end of the day, because like I said, the Blues and Pietrangelo are currently at a stalemate with their negotiations. They're really playing hardball, which is not going to bode well for having a very expensive guy, your captain. The last thing that you want to do is treat him in any bad way. Not that I think that's happening, but at the same time, they're not going to lowball him. So if they don't have the money, they're not going to be able to keep him. It's as simple as that. So that's where Toronto and Vegas come into play, which is ironic given the fact that they are two teams that are heavily dealing with a cap crunch, especially with this flat cap, of course, and with plenty of teams, even though Toronto would be fine in a bigger market, I would assume, with really being 10 mil under the normal cap, really only having just over 70 mil to work with via regarding their organization. But regardless, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Toronto Maple Leafs fans, St. Louis Blues fans, hockey fans overall, do you think that this is a possibility? What kind of trade proposal could you see? What is something that you're willing to give up for the likes of Pietrangelo if need be? And I don't know why I'm saying give up when it comes to it wouldn't be a trade, obviously. Nylander would be traded separate, but you get my point. But that's going to conclude this video, guys. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Help us reach 1K. At this point, I just hit 900 subscribers, so thank you all so much. Help us get there. Once I get there, I'll be doing live streams. I'll be doing a channel update video, among other things. Thank you all so much. It means a lot. Comment down below. Check out my previous videos, and I'll be back very, very soon.